Let's start with the question why are we here and why do we die? Why are our cities all gentrified and why do blacks still gotta struggle to survive? It's ludicrous, corruption covens ain't new to this. Started off when the plagues had hit and the bodies of the less fortunate started stoking all the royal furnaces. They stealing money out of everybody and all the single mothers' purses. It's a shame to me to see these boys out in the streets with slanging dope so they can eat while Senate waited on hands and feet. The same Senate that breeds poverty and gave that same dope to the teens in the streets in the 70s. So chew on that, just chew on that. I'm cooking up some food for thought, so just sit back, relax and chew on that.
Chew it.
Just chew on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little children, dogs and cats, it's your boy Rainy Chew, aka Mr. Chew on that, aka Mr. Slap. You know what? We're not gonna slap grandmothers no more. You know, we came back. Oh man. Okay, so listen. I have something very important I want to share after the first break. Remind me, please, please do. I got some fan mail. I got an email. True Radio got an email from a fan that was quite interesting and amazing, and I want to read it on air. Yes, it actually is. It was from a female who I'm not gonna give too much away. She's married, but anyway, listen, you know how we do when we do it. I want to first start off by saying that we missed you guys during the mid-season break. Season 2 has been outstanding. Season 1 was cool, but season 2 is very, 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 very outstanding. And I just want to let everyone know that I missed you guys. I'm glad that we back, and we got some amazing things that's going to be taking place um, coming up on Chew Radio Network. Um, so Chew Radio Network is going to be branching out, doing a lot of things from the West Coast to the East Coast on the Tupac Shakur side of the game. We got Death Row True Radio East and Death Row True Radio West. You know what I'm talking about? But anyway, look, books and business. My big brother, Zoe Williams, the man who introduced me into doing this radio stuff. We've been doing podcasting before it was called podcasting. We called it Internet Radio TV or Internet TV, which is radio in TV. Zoe Williams, my big bro, the voice of reason, has been working on, is about to publish a book called The Shrouded Lighthouse. You guys want to head to theshroudedlighthouse.com to order his book. It will be out before the end of this year. I already have my pre-order in for me and Grantastic. Obviously, I was going to get a book regardless. He did. That's my big bro. He was going to send me one regardless. But anyway, in this book, it's, oh my gosh. So his first book in this series was called The Relationship Dismount: How to Stick the Landing When Exiting a Toxic Relationship. And then the second volume in the book was called The Holographic Relationship. A lot of times we get into relationships and we blame the other person, not realizing that the other person is only showing you what you have to conquer within yourself. And if that wasn't enough, he said, you know what? Since these niggas ain't getting it, I need to do a third book called The Shrouded Lighthouse. So go to theshroudedlighthouse.com. And inside the book, he has a phrase called a situation shift. And I'm going to let him explain it to you right now.
You've heard of the term situation shift. I've taken it and made it something different. The situation shifts that we find ourselves in have the power to cause us to shift our perspective, either for good or for bad. When we shift for good, we've taken accountability of what we've been through, how we've been hurt, unhealed trauma. That causes us to shift in consciousness. So situation shifts can be very beneficial, right? If you're learning. Most people do not enter a relationship to find out what's wrong with themselves. Most people are looking for relationships to bring ease and peace, but that is only half of the coin. You're a co-creator of this relationship experience you're currently in, and that's why a situation shift has a silver lining.
That was my big bro, Zoe Williams. Situation shift. So please go to theshroudedlighthouse.com and please order the book. Now, I want to also point you to another website, ksl.com by Kimberly Giles. And she's been on the show a few times. Everyone knows her as the 12 Shapes and all of that. Well, she just posted a blog that I'm sorry, Kimberly Giles. She just posted a blog that I think all of you guys will be interested in if you go to ksl.com. Her name is Kimberly Giles. You go to ksl.com or go to 12shapes.com. Pick up this blog. It's titled How Forgiving Others Can Boost Your Self Esteem. I'm going to say that again. How forgiving others can boost your self esteem. I think that's amazing because I think a lot of people need to boost their self esteem. And if forgiving others is a way to boost your self esteem, then a lot of y'all need to stop holding grudges. Moving on, I want everyone to also go to unitedblackbooks.org. Unitedblackbooks.org. Look up in the search tab financing your small business. If you have a small business that you're trying to finance, get this book. Guess how much the book is? It's $1. It's an ebook that costs $1. You know that most of the books that I recommend that we read as a people comes from unitedblackbooks.org? And you know that the most expensive book that I've purchased from there was only $10? You know the old cliche that says, if you want to hide something from niggas, put it in a book. Put it in a freaking book. Now, also, your boy, Mr. Chew on that, is an ambassador for multiple brands, but one brand that I definitely want to bring up right now is Habits 365. Go to habits365.com. The promo code to get 15% off is Mr. Randy Chew. MrRandyChoo. Mr. Randy Chew. Type that in, you get 15% off. We are also throwing a ambassadors virtual party. You don't have to be an ambassador to join. It's a sip and paint virtually for those that are outside of the state of Maryland on August 28th. Yes, August 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for y'all niggas that want to sip and paint. Now, lastly, I want to upgrade Books and Business and call it Books, Business, and Current Events. So I dub my segment from this day forward Books, Business, and Current Events. One of the current events I want to talk about real quick before we take a quick 2.2 is this. Books, Business, and Current Events. I want to say that the New York Times published an article, and the article was about the Delta variant of COVID-19, and I'm going to read what it said. The Delta variant is as contagious as chickenpox and may be spread by vaccinated people as well as the unvaccinated. An internal whistleblower from the CDC has reported this. Let me say this for those who have been fighting so hard for everyone to get vaccinated. This has been 2019 to 2021 has been the most sheep rising years in my existence. We got red versus blue, Democrats versus Republicans, freaking Trump supporters versus Black Lives Matter and Antifa, freaking men versus women, vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and everyone is looking like some damn fools. At the end of the day, you have to research and think for yourself. Do you know that the same way that they are getting black folks to get vaccinated is the same exact way they did for the Tuskegee experiment? The exact same tools. Like those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. Do you know what's in the vaccination? Then I saw a post on Facebook. Yeah, this is my segment. I saw a post on Facebook that said niggas been eating McChickens and didn't know what was in that their whole life, and now they want to know what's inside the vaccination. First of all, let me say this. Niggas was little kids when we was eating McChickens. I'm not a little kid no more, and I haven't eaten McDonald's in Lord knows how long. First of all, let me say this. Every food in America is poisoned. Even y'all vegans are eating poison. So don't get me started, because everything in America is genetically modified, including the organic stuff. Don't get me started on that, because I got so much evidence that'll blow all y'all out the water. But anyway, so the same. Anyway, let me just go ahead. In fact, niggas is talking about acting like Chick-fil-A is healthy. Chick-fil-A has more chemicals in its chicken sandwich than Popeyes does. But anyway, let me just go ahead and move forward. First of all, let me tell the truth. This is not a vaccination. This is classified by the CDC as an experimental drug, and you are forced to take this under the State of Emergency Authorization Act, which means that if someone declares that it's in a state of emergency, they have the authority to force it on the population. The same essential workers, and I'm going to have an essential worker come on the show in August, by the way, that fought at the beginning of this pandemic has now been given an ultimatum to get vaccinated or get fired. How in the left side of Satan's ballsack is this acceptable? That people who risk their lives to take care of sick people that contained a biochemical weapon from the world governments that we call COVID, risk their lives. I'm talking about women who have families, have children, women that have risked their lives to take care of everyone during a pandemic, because majority of the workers were women, because the doctors really don't do squat. They just repeat what the nurse already said. But anyway, the women who took care of everyone are now given an ultimatum? What? Huh? How? But it's the regular men's fault that the world is. No. It's the elite men that are destroying the value of our women. How, that is a slap in the face to every strong woman that has worked during the pandemic. That they have to give an ultimatum of getting vaccinated or lose their job. So if all the women was just to leave the medical field, what do you have then? You're going to pull the military out on people? If the military knock on my door, I promise you, I got grenades and everything, and all my stuff is legal. You can try me if you want to. I got an RPG. You can try me if you want to. Legally owned by Wolf Shield LLC, baby. You can try it if you want to. I got an RPG. Y'all can pull up in there, whatever you want. It's gonna be Grand Theft Auto 5 off that joint. I promise you. So anyway, I'm just upset at the fact that the elites literally can throw anything out there to divide people. And in the age of information, we're so stupid to keep falling for it. It's too much information and research. How many more whistleblowers have to give their life for y'all niggas to reject the information? Anyway, we're going to take a quick 2.2. When we come back, we're going to dive into another topic for tonight's show, which is called Chew or Choke. We'll be right back after this quick 2.2.
Oh, snap, crackle, and pizza. It's on me. Am I muted? Can you hear me? Are we good? All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy, Mr. Grantastic, a.k.a. the Professor, a.k.a. Smooth Criminal, a.k.a. Choo Woo Woo. After season 2, mid-season break, y'all, so you already know what the segment is. It is now time for Chew or Choke. We give you topics and let us know how you really feel. So, if you're new to the Chew and Choke, this is how it goes, y'all. So we bring you topics, we bring you different statements, different things. We want to know how you are feeling about it. All right. So if you are feeling it, you agree with whatever we bring, you're gonna put that chew, you're gonna dial that into the chat. All right. If you're not feeling it and you disagree, you're gonna hit that choke. All right. So you can either like it or love it, or you can choke on
These.
topics. Y'all thought we was gonna get vulgar on y'all. Just wait for these topics. All right. Let's see where we going. Let's start it off easy. So
Stupid, yo.
at Farrah Gray had this statement to say on the grams of Insta, by the way. And this is kind of like a black community kind of thing, but just let me know how y'all feel. Y'all dig it out there. So we are considered cousins if our parents have been friends for over 15 years by black law. So do y'all agree with that? Yeah, you think if black folks, if our parents have been friends for over 15 years by black law, we are cousins. Let us know how you feel in the chat.
Yeah.
The chew if you agree with that, choke if you don't agree with that. So we got some little disparity going down the board.
Okay,
Miss
okay.
I, what do you think? I didn't know it was the number either. Mr. Randy Chew, how you feel?
Nah.
What you say? What you
Just
say
because
now?
our parents like each other don't mean I gotta like you, nigga. I don't like you, nigga. Bottom line, our parents may have had an arrangement, but I don't like you, and I'm not claiming you as my cousin. Because we got to remember, at the end of the day, relatives is God given. Family is who you choose, and if I don't choose you, you're not my family. Bottom line.
I feel where you're coming from. I think for the majority of black law, I think people kind of go with that. Now you don't have to like them. That's another thing. I think that's a little different. I think you should be like, yeah, that's my cousin. Like, and I went to school over like county boundaries, so there was a lot of people that had to be my cousins because I had to like lie about where I was living. So I'm okay with that because I just, couldn't tell on my mom. I was going to school in a different county and living, so they were my cousins. All right, let's go to the next thing. Okay. Here we go. Dr. George Fraser has this statement, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel about this. This is going to be quite interesting. And excuse the language. You can't be black and proud and a nigga at the same time. I'll say that one more time. You cannot. So this is their statement, not mine. You can't be black and proud and a nigga at the same time. If you agree with that statement, hit them with the chew. If you disagree with a choke, again, I say unto thee, you cannot be black and
Did
proud.
you just say, I say unto thee?
Yes, again, I say unto thee.
That's hilarious.
The statement, you cannot be black and proud and be a nigga at the same. And niggas with a Z at the end. I just wanted to make sure that was clear at the same time. How y'all feel about this panel? How y'all feel? Miss I was popping.
Talk to him, girl.
I am allergic to a certain level of niggerdom. Everything doesn't have to be all peachy and creamy for it to be all. No, I think we have range in
I feel you. Mr. Randy Chew.
I personally, I agree to a certain extent with IA. And I want IA to repeat what she said for those niggas who are sitting in the back. So repeat what you said, and then I'm going to elaborate on it again.
Everything?
Yeah, no, not everything, just a little bit.
I said like we have range. We're allowed to have range. Me personally, I am allergic to a certain level of niggerdom. So there's a threshold for me personally. But that being said, I think there is a fine line of righteous and ratchet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not limited to just us.
Ooh.
So I will call ratchet. I personally don't like the word. I don't like to use the word ghetto. I'll call Becky ratchet because if it applies, it applies.
People forget that every group has their quote unquote niggas.
I see
every
it a lot. I see it a whole lot.
Ethnicity,
and I've been around all of them all my life. So I've seen it.
Status, everybody
so
has.
Let me piggyback off of IA real quick if I can. Can I?
You may.
Okay. So
we good.
So I had to repeat it. I'm not gonna cap because I had to fix her volume on her microphone. But I also want to repeat it for the niggas in the back because I want to say this. For those who don't understand the etymology of the word nigga, I agree with the statement.
Mm-hmm.
But those of us who have actually took time to study understand that the word nigga came from Niger. Niger came from nego or negu. Negu came from negus, which means offsprings of the Most High. So that's why it's easy for us subconsciously to say, yo, what's up, my nigga?
Mm-hmm.
Because we understand that word nigga comes from the word negus, which means child of God.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say, what's up, my nigga, I'm calling you a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
But the white man put it and called it nigger and told us that their definition came first.
Damn Spaniards.
But they did not. Anyway, so I agree and I disagree. I think that you do have to have a little hood in you, but you do have to have some righteousness in you.
I do. I think
because I knock a nigga out and pray for him at the same time.
Exactly.
So I agree with the ratchet and hood.
I agree with that as well. I think it's just I think I'm kind of a little done with people feeling as if they have to just be in one group. You know, like just because I ride a bike, I don't have to be a cyclist. I'm just a nigga that ride my bike. Like y'all gotta wear the jerseys and join the clubs. That's not for me. That's okay. So it's okay. I can be a little black and proud. I can have a little ratchet too. You know, it is what it is.
Right.
Ratchet, bougie, savage.
I'm most definitely a good combo of that. So.
But look, that's the thing.
Wait, you said you're a good combo?
A bougie and a little bit of ratchet.
And a little bit of ratchet.
That's a tinge.
Hot.
A little smidget.
Is that term different from bouge ghetto? Is it like bouge ratchet? Like I've heard bouge ghetto. Bougetto
was a term. I think ratchet is not necessarily where you're from. You know, I feel like bougetto might be the person that's from the hood that is bougie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bouge ratchet is, you know, it can be anybody.
Yeah.
It can be anybody. I personally, I'm not ashamed of this. I was a suburban kid, so you know. But I got a little smidge of ratchet.
I was saying suburban kids want to be ratchet too.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's not limited.
I know a lot of kids I know some kids in the project that were straight punks.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah.
And I know some suburb niggas that'll throw down.
That's that.
Bottom line.
Bouge ratchet gives you that allotment to have that range. It don't matter where you're from. That's right.
Over here. Can we get that on the shirt? Like,
I like that.
Lord have mercy,
I like that.
Jesus.
I like that.
Bouge ratchet. I know that's right.
Oh, hot dog.
All right, let's go to our third one here at Barky Boobs.
Barky Boobs.
Yeah, I know these names though. For real, I don't know. I don't know how some people know this, but it's okay. So here's his statement, and I'll read a statement that I'll give some context after. All right.
Okay.
So if I ask someone to be my life partner, basically proposing, after a reasonable time, and they say no, there's literally no reason for me to continue this relationship. That wasn't a response of someone saying that someone proposed to them and they declined, but they still wanted to continue the relationship. That was his response to this. So one more time, if I ask somebody to be in my life to be my life partner after a reasonable time, and they say no, there's literally no reason for me to continue this relationship. Chew if you agree with that. Chew if you disagree, and you can continue the relationship after a no for proposing. And this is not just the idea of proposing. This is actual. Not you. Oh, sorry. This is the actual act of proposing. Like down on one knee and propose. The person declines, but wants to continue the relationship. So homeboy is saying, nah, it's dead. So Chew, if it's dead, Choke, if you think that, all right, we can try and go on to this.
I want to hear from IA first.
I'm on the see every time. Okay, I'm gonna say you're saying chew if it's dead or choke if it's not dead.
Chew if it's dead. Like you say no, it has to end here. Choke means you disagree with his statement that is a possibility to continue.
I'm gonna say choke. Choke on that because every situation. I remember hearing a story about this man who proposed to his wife 3 times before she said yes. She just was just like they never had the first time they never had a conversation. He just did things willy nilly. Mm-hmm. She wanted to get things ironed out. It's not that she didn't care about him. I think actually the first time I think she didn't necessarily see him like that, but he was just like, this is my wife. Mm-hmm. The second time she said we need to iron out some things, and then by the third time they was in sync. And they did it because I feel like, listen, I feel like I'm not married yet, but I do feel like it's not for the faint. It's not for the weak. And I think it's very important that people enter this contract knowing what they're doing. And sometimes folks can be a little incongruent with that. So no, I think it depends on the circumstance. There's people who don't want to get married, and so and so feels like, okay, if I propose, this will push you into this, and. It may not be like that. I know someone like that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to. He wants to. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. Randy Chew.
She belongs to the streets.
I guess.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't.
I had to say contract though. That's what it is. It's a business deal.
It's on top of a lot of things. I do believe that love is not enough. So you can't pay me to believe that.
I feel like if you propose to a woman and she says no the first time, you need to evaluate yourself. Because a real woman is not going to say no if she feels secure within that man.
Like for no reason.
Like just to say no. Mm-hmm. Like y'all been in a relationship.
Look, y'all take it how y'all want to take it. It's okay. Because I'm going to
go
my own
route.
Though.
What?
I'm talking to Jason. He said, "Take it how you want to take it." Whoa!
Straight to the face.
Hey. Whoa. Okay, so listen. This is what I think. I think that if a man is on his square, the woman that you're already in a relationship with is not going to say no. Something is off with the nigga.
But you said if she's a real woman, what does that have to do with that?
Because a real woman versus what society has molded women to become, there's a difference. The women that society has molded women to become, it's like they're never satisfied. They're never willing to settle for what's right for their future. They just want pleasure in the moment. A real woman understands this man is going to be committed. He's going to be loyal. He's going to take care of me. He's going to love me. He's going to protect me. He's going to have my best interest at heart. For societal modern women, that's not enough. But for a real woman, that's enough.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you say that, but how many men are actually honoring all of that you just listed? Because there's not a lot of real men.
But but that's your point. Is that your point, saying that like if she is saying no, like there's a reason because of the dude needs to do something else.
A woman, that's my point.
Like so, okay, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like,
the woman's
so
not
she has
say
the
no.
sight of saying no for a specific reason.
Yes.
Okay.
A real woman is going to evaluate her man on a consistent basis, and when he pops that question to say, "Look, I want you to fully be mine." A real woman, if she says no, it's the man's fault, not the woman. It's the man's fault. I'm not talking about modern women. I'm talking about real women. Mm-hmm. It's the man's fault. You have to level up. Yeah. You have to step up. And we have to be taught as men who need to level up to ask the question, why? Mm-hmm. And a real woman would tell you, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Mm-hmm. And don't just check off the list, but actually grow in those areas to where it's in your nature to be. Mm-hmm. You understand?
I hear you.
Yeah. Because a lot of people propose and want marriage because of the idea of it.
Mm-hmm. The wedding.
Right.
The ideology of it.
So you're kind of saying like if some dude proposed that was on his stuff and a chick just actually wasn't on his stuff, and a chick just said yes, that she's just saying yes because of the engagement, the idea of it. If that woman knows he's not ready to be her husband, but yet she says yes, is that what you're kind of implying?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up the stats later on in the show, but 80% of the divorces that are filed in America are filed by women. Yeah. There's a reason for that, and it's not just because of modern women. It's because men have to level up and be on their square.
Yeah.
Now, I would say about 55% of the divorces that happen within that 80% is because the woman has an idea of what marriage should be, and it's not happening the way she wants. But we can't just say it's just the woman, though, because leadership is on the man.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So whether it's a comfortable conversation or not, men are the reason why society is the way it is. We built the world. So who are we to blame it on women? You see what I'm saying? You either put them in their place, make them play their role, or you shut the hell up and you level up. At the end of the day, it's still on the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just bottom line, it's on the man.
I'm gonna take a kind of ratchet approach to this. If I bring my mama and your mama around and I propose to you, bitch, you better say yes and tell me no in the back.
Gotcha, bitch.
Don't humiliate you. That's the moral of the story.
Like, don't humiliate me. Just be like, yes, baby. Be like, baby, we got some stuff we need to work on.
Where the ring?
So
I know better.
This ring will go on, but nigga, we not engaged.
I know better.
But I agree with both of you all, though. I just wanted to, when someone was just like, I imagine how I propose, right? So it's just, I had like a little video ready on the phone. So my wife was watching the video. Of course, it's January. I don't know why I proposed when it's cold. I go around the car, get the ring ready, take a deep breath. She's watching the video of our pictures and song. I open the door and it's like, baby. That's all I said. She just started crying. She heard I planned this for weeks. She didn't hear nothing. She didn't hear not one thing I said.
You had a whole Michael B. Jordan.
To this day, she still don't know what I said.
Keep it short and sweet.
That's what I was just like. I'm like, my knees on ice. Are you going to say yes or no so I can know what's happening? But then we went in the restaurant, and then like our families were there. So in that situation, it's just like she would have said no. I'd been like, okay, why? What do I need to work on? All right, cool. Your mama, your father, your sister, my mama, and our friends and cousins are in the restaurant. So what we gonna tell them? Because I'm not about to. Because everyone's cheering. Yeah, you'd be like, y'all my niggas want to eat. Like, and she said no.
It'd be funny if you would have said. My wife would have said no. I straight would have.
Hadouken! I only would have been mad if my wife said no because my knee was on ice for like at least solid 45 seconds. And I'm like, yo, you gonna let my kneecap freeze and you gonna still say no?
Wow.
Shit. Get my motherfucking ring back. But that's another question.
Okay, yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So go ahead. Go ahead. Give us.
Okay, one more. All right, cool. All right. So this was from Charlemagne Lord.
Oh Lord.
Oh God.
Here we go, y'all. It's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm working on getting monetized, so I can't say that.
That's also true. All right. So some things don't need prayer. They need discipline. God already told you what to do. You're just procrastinating. And this is coming from Charlemagne, y'all.
I definitely. I'm sorry. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Some of y'all. I put a post on earlier today on Facebook. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I literally.
I think I matched my son.
I said.
It did blend.
So I put this on Facebook earlier today. I said most people suffer due to a lack of application, not a lack of information.
Yeah.
A lot of y'all niggas need to know to discipline yourselves when you're waiting for a higher power to just hand you something.
Yeah.
When you can just do it yourself. Some things you don't need prayer for. Just change.
Just do it.
What is wrong with you?
Lord, I need you to change my bank account.
I just got one question.
Who raised you?
I have not applied for one job yet, but Lord, I need you to come through and change my financial situation.
playing 2K or
I've been playing 2K all day, Lord. I need you to come through.
What's your thoughts? I know you agree, but
100%. I feel like a lot of people get paralysis and like I'm waiting for a sign, and I think it's just gonna drop on the doorstep. Like I don't know how to be friends with those type of people. Yeah, I do think faith without works is dead. Like, you know, he gave you the message, he gave you everything. It's now time to put one foot in front of the other and make it happen. So
make it happen.
You know, a lot of people say they want something, but they're wishing. They're not actually executing, and that's that. There's a lot of dreamers out here. There's not a lot of doers. You gotta have the doing part.
Wow.
And I think that really applies to every category, from like love to like the money.
Yeah.
I think it applies to all of it.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Listen, we're gonna take a quick 2.2. And when we come back, we are going to dive into said topic and said discussion as I find the music to play. Anyway, we're going to take a quick 2.2. When we come back, we are going to dive into the discussion. Be right back up this 2.2. Deuces. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, little children, dogs and cats, it's your boy, Randy. Randy.
You're not used to that.
Wow. It's your boy, Randy Chew, a.k.a. Mr. Chew on that, a.k.a. Mr. Smack Your Great-Great-Grandma. And I'm here with the other host of True Radio.
It's your boy, Mr. Grantastic, a.k.a. the Professor, a.k.a. Smooth Criminal, a.k.a. Kenya Chew Woo in season 2.
And we have back in studio, Jesus, my Lord.
I love it.
Keep it near me, quiet storm.
Oh, I got wow. I got the chicken wow.
Wow.
Succulent ribs and back rubs. We have IA in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. My co-host of True Radio. IA, how have you been?
I've been chilling. I'm really sad. I was telling buddy that I'm sad. Summer is pretty much over. Once August hits, I feel like. I mean, what are y'all thinking? August hits. Is August really part of summer, or is it like that interim month? What do y'all think?
August is like the depression month of summer's over. You about to go back to grinding.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a teacher, so once like August 1st hits, it's like, damn. it's like winter is coming. It's like children are coming to the room, and you're gonna have to teach them, and it starts all over again.
Yeah, it's all over again.
Yeah.
So cool.
But the nice thing about winter is like you got the Thanksgiving break, you got the Christmas break.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I like cold weather because of hoodies.
Yo, hoodie season is right, yo.
I I get to hide my gut in hoodie season.
I
That's
can't hear you
wonderful.
Right now.
Yes.
That is facts.
Also, I want to give myself a round of applause. I have discovered the reason why my gut has not fallen off yet, and I am conquering my health issues.
That's
So I'm proud of
awesome.
myself. I'm very proud of myself. Because
Good.
niggas don't like going to the doctors.
That's
also
right.
true.
So,
That's
so,
right.
you know,
That's also
I
true.
but anyway, so Mr. Grantastic had hit me up, and he had an amazing topic and subtopics for tonight's show. So introduce the topic, and let's get into this hot discussion. Listen, we are accepting callers tonight.
Yeah,
And the number to dial is 516-531-9828. 516-531-9828. Please call in and give us your input on said topic. So, Mr. Grantastic, tell us what the topic is.
Well, after weeks and months of deliberation and conversation, dictation. I'm sorry, I was just rhyming with those words. Anyway, so the title is it important or is it imprinted? Again, I say unto thee,
Yes.
is it important
Yes, Lord.
or
Great.
is it imprinted?
Yes, Lord.
So some subtopics we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the perspective of relationship goals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to talk about what is important to you when creating a relationship. What is important, and is it actually really important to you, or has it just been imprinting on you? And then we're going to talk about this perspective of the power couple.
Oh, yeah.
Because these are some terms that float around quite often, and we gotta dive into them, see what's popping, because we gotta see what the people are just talking about, because we try and get this relationship thing right in the community, for real.
Okay. So, is it important or is it imprinted?
I feel like we need to break down some things.
Yeah, let's break it down. Let's
You know what, Mr. Grantastic, go ahead and break down.
What should we start with first? Important or imprinted?
You know what? I want to talk about important.
We'll talk about important. Okay.
And then you can talk about imprinted. How about that?
Cool. All
okay.
Right. We want to drop this on the screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, y'all.
So we're gonna talk about important, right? Marked by or indicative of significant worth or consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Valuable in content or relationship. Second one is value. Oh, you got them written down. Okay. Given evidence of a feeling of self-importance. Wow. Giving evidence should be underlined and highlighted.
Evidence, y'all. Yep.
Of a feeling of self-importance.
I like that feeling.
Yeah.
If y'all don't learn anything from True Radio, learn to get your dictionary, define words, and find the etymology. If y'all don't learn nothing else from this platform.
And y'all can see the last one. I don't want to read the last one.
Okay.
But you see it. But I want to highlight given evidence of a feeling of self-importance. Valuable in content or relationship.
Actually, I want to point out one thing as well. I like that likely to have a profound effect on success, survival, or well-being. I just want to highlight that as well.
Likely to have a profound effect
on success, survival, or
well-being. So that is defined importance.
Something of importance to you.
Fantastic.
Okay. All right, y'all. So hey, we breaking these words down.
Hold on. Before we even continue, let's talk about something real quick.
We'll talk about it.
Valuable in relationship. What are some things, IA, that women hold as valuable from a man in a relationship? And you can speak from a general or personal standpoint.
I would say in general, character is big. Mean what you say what you mean. Yeah, I'll say some of the things that are controversial as well, like the protector, the provider. That's important. It is.
Okay.
And I also think in relationship purpose is important. I'll say that from I think that's a personal observation, but I think in general, like purpose is really important. When people are walking around aimlessly, it's really hard to follow that, especially if you're talking about, especially now people are trying to do the resurgence of traditional relationship or successful relationship. I think it's important that people have purpose and have a direction that they're going in.
Are you speaking kind of individual or purpose like together?
I think individually that would be great, but I also know that some people come together and then they're able to discover a purpose. But I do think I think ultimately who you're with or who you should be with is you two should be able to come together and really
I like
bless
the way you
bless the world.
I love the way you worded that. Who you should be with, because a lot of people pick a spouse that they're not supposed to be with.
Yeah.
And they blame it on God.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
I love the way she worded it. Wow. Evidence of feeling self-importance. I really have a hard time with the way that this definition is grafted.
That one part.
What part do you think I'm talking about?
The part you keep repeating, the given evidence of self-importance. That part.
The feeling.
The feeling. The evidence of a feeling.
Yes.
Evidence of a feeling. Huh.
Yeah.
Isn't the feeling the
Yeah.
evidence of the feeling?
Because how can emotionally unstable people provide evidence to their self-importance? Think about that for a moment. How can I am gonna throw it back to you before I throw the grain test. If a man or a woman, remember some but not all, some but not all, if let me personalize it. How about this? I'm not gonna throw it to IA or you. I'm gonna just put it in the room and then y'all comment. There was a moment in my life where I didn't feel a sense of self-importance. It was a feeling that had no evidence. I literally did deductive reasoning, critical thinking, trying to pull up evidence to prove that the feeling of not being important is valid. But when I pull up the stats, it showed opposite. So my importance is not dictated based upon my feelings about myself. It's based upon the evidence and how I benefit other people's lives. Am I wrong for thinking that way?
No, not now.
I will say that what you just described is probably how a lot of men base their value, whereas I think I'll just say from a woman's perspective, there's a lot of messaging that we have intrinsic value. And I think that should go for all people, honestly.
Okay.
But I think both genders now have this thing where if I'm not here or if I'm not accomplishing this or if I don't have some tangible things that I deem worthy, then I am not valuable. And yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Wow. So do we get that from what we call social norms?
There's socialization in there as well.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
And I think that's the question, like how, and we'll dive into really breaking down imprinted and important, but is it actually something that's really important to you, or if it's something that's been told that's like, oh, this is how you find your value in these things. And you're like, oh, okay, like I accomplished these things, but I still don't feel important. I've checked these boxes off, I still don't feel important. And then you're like, okay, but like this is the resume we put in the dating world. We put like, oh, what do you make? What do you do? How you look? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. We put that out there, and then it's like people are like reading your resume, like, yeah, you important. You check those 3 boxes.
I want you to read Imprint real quick because I have a statement that I want to talk about to show if we can select important or imprinted.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
This is the educator in me, y'all. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Don't apologize. That's right. Tell them again. Don't apologize.
Oh my God! All right, so Imprinted. So we went to the etymology on y'all.
See, this is why True Radio is so hot.
It is.
By the way.
All right, so to mark by or as if by pressure.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
To fix indelibly or permanently as on the memory, or to subject to or induce by imprinting. Okay, so that mark by or is by pressure. That's the one thing to me that stood out. Wow. Is that like by pressure?
I think that women are the strongest imprinters in human history.
I agree with that.
I think now listen to my words carefully. I think part of their value comes from the power of imprinting on men.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
When a woman can no longer imprint on her man, she begins to lose value in his eyes. But let me say this, because you define imprint, you define importance. I'm not even going to pull up the email. I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to post it next show.
Okay.
But I remember paraphrasing. And if this individual is listening, they have a right to call in and correct me if my paraphrase is wrong. The number to dial is 516-531-9828. So there was this woman who has been married for 14 years and was separated from her husband. Just so happened to listen to True Radio. Not Kevin Samuels, not Fresh and Fit, not Lapeef Let's Talk, not The Roommates, none of that. She listened to True Radio. She stumbled across it on Podbean and listened to it. Then she listened to some old episodes. I got an email from her and her husband thanking True Radio for saving their marriage.
Okay. Well, we can claim that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
I'm not going to get into details of what their struggle was, but I will say this. He had a mindset of 1, 2, 3, and she had a mindset of ABC. There was an episode where I talked about how men and women should come together to form. The man lays out the vision. The woman helps the man meet that vision, but it's supposed to be cooperative. We talked about responsibility being held on the men and the women, and how if you as a man don't have these things aligned, then you can't command or demand this from your woman. And the woman, if this man is striving to evolve into the man that you want him to become, you can't just walk away from him.
Yeah.
I remember that episode. Talked about how dismissing a man's feelings is the worst thing a man could feel, especially if he has love towards that woman, because it hits different. It hits deeper when it's just dismissed. Now, not saying that the man's feeling is valid, but the dismissal of the feeling itself, as you see by the word importance, it's a self-esteem thing. It's a self-value thing for a man to be vulnerable enough to express his feelings. And when they're dismissed, he gets crushed. It doesn't have to be a significant other. It could be a friend. It could be a sister. It could be an auntie, mama, whatever.
I'm so proud of the platform. Let's keep talking.
Anyway, he came back to her and apologized for commanding things that he himself was not at a level to command. She came back and apologized for pushing aside his feelings and dismissing them. And they had a 2-hour conversation where they laid everything out on the table and realized we can't do life without each other.
Mm.
This is what this platform is about.
Hey, man.
We can disagree, we can fuss, fight, and argue, but all of our hearts are genuine and pure. And when you have a pure heart, you can present a message to people that are really suffering and bring them back together. I said that, and I want to transition to this statement to talk about importance or imprinted. Society has told us, it's been imprinted on us by society to cut people off. Mm-hmm. You disagree with me, cut off.
Yeah.
You got on my nerves, cut off. Your negative energy, cut off. There's a statement, there's a quote. I don't remember where I got this quote from, but it's not originated by me. I'm just going to throw this quote out there, then y'all respond. Mistreating people, then avoiding communication is not protecting your peace. It's avoiding accountability.
Mm-hmm. Repeat that again.
Mistreating people. This nigga's stupid. Mistreating people, then avoiding communication is not protecting your peace. It's avoiding accountability. How do y'all feel about that statement?
100% agree.
You're talking about life right now.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Can I hold that?
Oh, okay.
Can
You want both of them? You want both of them?
I need both of them.
Yeah, I'm chewing.
Yes.
You need to go first. I need to collect my thoughts.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I know, like, man, I 110% agree with that. And I think even so, as an educator, just in my early days, what helped me get to the spot where I'm at now, where God has blessed me to be, was my integrity.
Where you worked hard to be?
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely much so.
Okay.
Was my integrity on how children are to be treated. And it wasn't even by me, honestly.
Okay.
It was actually people who were around me who, like what you're saying. So, but they all were mistreating people and running away from it.
Wow. Okay.
But we were connected. So their parents were seeing me as the same person who was disrespecting your kids like them. And I had to say, and God had to speak with me of like, you gotta actually intervene and speak up and correct this. It's not for them. Because like we're taught of just like, oh, you messed up, with these people. It's on you. You need to correct it. It was like, but your name's attached to their name. I need you to go further in life. I don't care about where they're going. I need you. So I had to go back and correct it, even if it was just on their behalf, but my name was attached to it. So, and at that point, which when I corrected it, I thought like these people were never going to speak to me again. I saw the parents and the kids in the street, and they were just like, "Hey, what's good?" It was like nothing skipped a beat. But it was that holding accountable, even for someone else's mess. So, and they all avoided it. Yeah. They all avoided it. So you gotta be willing to get. If you even cause a little mess, you gotta get into it and fix it. You really do, because you never know down the road. And I think that's what some people, and some people who remain nameless, that big bro knows. You do something, you hurt somebody, you never know how it's gonna hurt your pockets and your platform stuff down the road. We're gonna keep things nameless, but let's be real.
Yeah.
You say someone is, you weak, I don't need you.
Yeah.
And that's the very person that ends up putting on everyone else around you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta, even if it's uncomfortable.
Shout out to Zoe Williams, man. That's my big bro for life.
So you gotta, because I saw that look on Big Bro's face. Big Bro Zoe, I saw that look on your face that episode. I already knew it.
That's poetic.
I already knew it was popping.
Yeah, that's poetic.
So I talk to us from your female perspective. Everything you just heard. What are your thoughts?
This is kind of a sore spot right now. So okay. I'll just say that as a recovering stonewaller, do y'all need me to break down what a stonewaller is?
I mean, for the
audience. Yeah,
okay, so
we might have some.
So they say okay, all right, probably. I'll say for they say the two ways to like really end a relationship or the demise of a relationship is stonewalling and violence. So that's that silent treatment. That's the avoidant attachment style. That's the exactly what was described when you are not addressing the actual issue.
Okay.
You're mistreating and then you're not actually addressing the issue. That is a number one way to go ahead and destroy that relationship. You can throw it away. I'm gonna just share an experience as a recovering stonewaller.
Wow.
I'll say that is something that was, I don't know, genetic or socialized in the family, family pathology.
Uh-huh.
I have been challenging myself not to do that. And
Wow.
it's hard. It's very, very hard, because even if you're willing to be like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore, who you're dealing with may not be on that same walk. And I don't quite have the answer on what to do then, because, although we say feelings are fleeting and, it's a moment, you feel what you feel. And that's all I got right now.
Wow.
That's all I got.
want to say this because you brought up something. First of all,
Ooh, can I read this? That was a potential true or choke that kind of goes along with what you're saying.
go ahead.
So someone did post this earlier this week. So it says, even the strongest feelings expire when ignored and taken for granted, though.
That goes right along with what I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
People, let
Well,
me tell you about my
I feel the puppet master coming back. Okay, anyway. Suppressing, and I got this from Big Brozo Williams. Suppressing emotions is a hindrance to your spiritual growth.
Which is why I'm very big on feeling my feelings. I allow myself to feel, because I don't like to pretend. I'm very big about not being a fraud.
Okay.
So I allow myself to feel my feelings. And but I give myself an expiration date, because I think a lot of people are walking around where they have feelings, and it's like you started off the show. There's a lot of war going on. Like, people don't realize there's a lot of war going on, and it is sometimes you're carrying other people's hurt. You don't even realize you're angry. You're sitting here, you're spewing out hatred, and this is not even your fight. You haven't even had that experience, but it's just like people are bleeding on each other, and we're literally just like splattering all over the place. So I think it's really important that in order to balance yourself out, you have to allow yourself to feel it, and then say, all right, now that I felt it, what's next? What now? What can I do to move forward? How can I use this to be a lesson? How can I use this to be more resilient? I don't like the word strong. I say resilient, because I think a lot of times when people are strong, they're suppressing. They're still walking around with blood, and they haven't wrapped up their wounds.
There was a good philosopher by the name of Alan Watts who said that there is a price to be paid for every increase of consciousness. We cannot be more sensitive to pleasure without being more sensitive to pain. God. It's actually poor spiritual hygiene to give everyone access to you. So there has to be a balance between who we cut off and the reasons why, versus who we let in and the reasons why.
And cut off doesn't necessarily mean I don't talk to you the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people got to know, you got to compartmentalize. Like, you're just over here for now.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people that can know the inner me. You just on the, if you're talking about the core, you on the next layer. You don't know the deep, you on the core of the earth. You walk around on front. You see, you be cool. You got to know where to put people sometimes as well.
So, one of the
big advocate of that, actually. Like, it may not work in this capacity, but we might work in this capacity. But people are so quick to be like, it didn't work here, I can't deal with you. And it's just like, you might leave money on the table, you might leave your baby daddy, your baby mama on the table, you might leave your family on the table, and they may have not worked in this capacity, but they may have worked in that one.
Relationship goals, let's talk about that for a moment, because I feel like every man should be able to identify what his relationship goals are. And he should not be willing to approach a woman until he has his relationship goals laid out. And I say this because of this. What we call dating or courting in the Western world, the Eastern world don't do that. They don't. By culture, tradition, religion, however you want to give them an excuse, they don't do that. They simply get selected because they realize marriage is not just about love.
Yeah.
We're the ones who have this Disney World ideology of what love is supposed to
Fantasy
be.
princess.
And everyone is miserable because of this fake reality that we've been imprinted. And we have not studied what is the importance of relationships. And I'm not just talking about significant, intimate relationships, because you could be, intimacy is not just sex.
Correct.
Into me, you see.
Say that again.
Into me, you see.
Intimacy.
Into me, you see.
Lord Jesus, where has IA come from? Lord, she'd have been over the world, Lord, for the summer break, and she has come back strong.
She flew out a couple states and came back.
Humble the bubble shot. Okay, so yo, it's about matching souls.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even have to be your significant other. Like, you can literally, no homo. You can have, if you're a guy, you can have a brother. Y'all souls match.
That's right.
Yeah. You can have a friend that is a sister. Soul match. You care about each other's well-being, and you care about, you love what that person loves, and you protect what they love. That's the whole premise of a best man and a matron of honor.
Correct.
Is to protect the union. Why? Because if my friend, sister, brother, whatever, loves this man or this woman, I am to protect the union. I'm to hold both of them accountable to make sure that this union sticks together, not gossip behind it anyway. Yeah. So I want to say this. Relationship goals have to be set. And I want to ask you guys, what are some relationship goals that we could give the audience that they should add on to what they already have?
I got one off top.
Okay.
Don't look at other people's relationship and make that your relationship goal.
Woo!
That should be your first goal.
You're your own competition.
That should be.
Gotcha, bitch.
Don't look to other people, and especially people not in your tax bracket. Like, stop looking at celebrities and like, boo, why you ain't buying me a Birkin bag like that? Bitch, it is not. It's ain't the tax bracket. All right, deal with your relationship. Stop looking at celebrities that, first of all, get stuff from companies to market to you, endorse and imprint on you the lifestyle they're trying to get.
You brought up a point that I want to say this. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something before I?
Relationship goals heal. Healing is huge. A lot of wounded people are getting together, further wounding each other, wounding their children. Those children are going out. The cycle continues. Yes. Healing is huge.
Healing. Okay.
Facing that is hard, but when you get on the other side, it's well worth it. That's how you end cycles. I
think healing has to begin with the awareness of the wound.
I think a lot of people are aware. I think a lot of people are aware of their brokenness. They may not share it.
Okay.
They may not always have the words for it, but I think broken people know that they're broken.
You think they're just pretending? They're lying to themselves.
All the above. Most of them
are just sedating themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly. I think it's sedating. Yeah, I think people are like. That's why you see this. You know, you were talking about the Birkin bag and the flashiness and there's a lot of things that people are compensating for. Like, I was listening to a video today where this guy was talking about, like, we have a lot of hoodlums and shooters, but we really don't have shooters. You know what I'm saying? We really don't have soldiers. Like, we literally are, if you listen to our music, it's just like, spend all your money, F as many B's as you can, you know what I'm saying? And run from the police. Like, that's literally our messaging. It's just like, if you really listen to it, it's just like, how we are so ass backwards. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm a quote Zoe again. Sorry, human beings reflect each other's internal progress through relationships. However, no one is responsible for your personal growth. Mm-hmm. If I walk into a relationship, no matter what relationship dynamic it is, and I am aware that you're about to display to me something internally that's going on, I can no longer blame you for the wound.
Mm-hmm.
I blame myself.
Say that part again.
If I walk into a relationship, no matter what the dynamics is, understanding that whatever you're about to display is what's going on inside of me internally, I can no longer blame you for the wound. I have to blame myself.
Right.
When you blame yourself, that means you take responsibility for the wound, which means you're responsible for the healing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, some but all. We're not talking about all wounds.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I'll give an example. You got 5 baby daddies.
God dang. She belongs to the streets.
You got 4 baby daddies, 3 baby daddies, and you going around saying all men ain't ish.
All the men you picked ain't.
Where's the self-responsibility at?
Mm-hmm.
Or man, you got 3 baby mamas.
Can we lump both of them? Because I mean,
You got 3 baby mamas, and which by the way, statistics actually show that only 17% of the men actually sleep with 90% of the women. So majority of the men are actually not even getting coochie. But the men that are getting coochie, you have to you have to take responsibility for the relationships and things that you create.
Yeah.
I get tired as a man, I get tired of hearing men cry about the relationship dynamics with their ex.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, and women too.
You chose that.
Women have this. Oh my gosh, they carry on the pain from. You know, one thing that I wish I knew back in the day was don't be so concerned about a person's past.
Yeah.
Allow them to start over with you.
Yeah.
If my
Does that apply for both genders? Because
Yes.
I feel like that's allowed for one, but there's clearly names for another.
No, I think in today's society, I think back when we were children coming up, it applied to women. But in today's society, I feel like anything that is done that is not approved by the social norms is attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's not approved by the social norms is women being accountable for their decision making. And men are held accountable because of their decision making because there's immediate consequence to their decisions. If I shoot Ray Ray, I get locked up. Well, if you're not white. But if I shoot Ray Ray, I get locked up. If I sleep with a chick, get her pregnant, she takes me to court and go to child support. Like 90% of single mothers are getting paid child support. 90%. We only hear about the stories of the 10%. Because you got to remember, media brings up the negative
blow that joint up
and highlights it because no one's going to listen to a positive story. So it's their responsibility to highlight the negative because human beings are attracted, as the scriptures say, men love darkness rather than light. Notice it said men love darkness rather than light. Women love to go against the rules. Men love to go with darkness. Scripturally. Let's break this down for a second. Because we're talking about relationship goals.
break it down break it down
Adam was given, or Atom, however you want to pronounce it. If anyone want to debate me about religion, please do, because I was smoking with your own book in front of your own audience. Please email me at trueradio2020@gmail.com because you can get this work. Anyway, yeah, because I taught world religions and I taught that in college courses. So you don't want this smoke. Anyway, Adam was given a set of rules. He was given instructions. Men do good with instructions that is given from another man or from an authority figure. which is why being a father is very important to be placed in the home. One of the things that the government did was take the authority out of the home. So the family dynamics is in chaos because a woman is not supposed to be the leader of the house. She's not supposed to pay all the bills. She's not supposed to give the vision and the guidance. She's not supposed to worry about a lot of things except for what the children are going to cook, what her life passion and goals are, how she's going to pursue them, and making sure that her children, and her man is happy. The man is responsible for everything else. I got to put a roof over your head. I got to make sure you have I have the currency to make sure you can pursue your life dreams. I got to create an environment where you can grow healthy. I got to create an environment where the children can grow healthy. And I got to make sure that you are protected spiritually, naturally, and in your soul. I have to make sure that I create an environment where you can build emotional stability. Because society have targeted women.
90 seconds.
Screw you. Society have targeted women to be emotionally unstable, and society have targeted men to not show emotions. And both of them are damaging relationships. A man suppressing his feelings is just as damaging as a woman not having control over her emotions. It's the same thing. A man being physically abusive to a woman has just as much psychological damage as a verbal abusive woman. But society norm says there's a difference. When in all actuality, accountability is the difference. Look at the statistics. Don't even take my opinion for it. Look at the stats. In domestic violence, if verbal abuse is viewed as the same as physical abuse, which statistics say it should be, then there's a lot of female criminals running around. I don't condone physical abuse of women. My mother was physically abused. I don't condone it at all. I'll shoot you.
10 seconds.
But what I am saying is, when it comes to relationship goals, one of the things that you have to establish is accountability on both parts. The man just can't be accountable for his actions, and the woman just dismiss her accountability. And society has taught majority of women to dismiss accountability. It's always, well, the man could have done this better, or the man should have done this. How about you just apologize for your belligerent acts? That's a relationship goal, accountability. Another relationship goal is to play my role in the relationship. A woman doesn't want a pussy man. If you a punk, she don't want you. If you crying and complaining all the time, oh, this happened in my job, oh, this person don't like, a woman don't want to hear that.
Right.
Niggas don't want to hear that from their woman.
Sure. You're absolutely right.
I mean, we'll act like we interested.
I give you 5 minutes.
Babe, that's crazy.
That's wild, yo. Like, yeah.
You know, she knows she wrong for that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Word up. Crazy.
I told you that.
But
crazy, girl.
But these are realistic relationship goals because you got to remember, at some point in the relationship, feelings are going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
And beauty is too. Everyone's going to grow up ugly.
And that's why one of my relationship goals is to like the person you're with. Because when the looks and the beauties fade and things is just, and you're just in the circuit of life, do you actually like this person you got to wake up to every day? I
got to love your soul.
Yeah.
In society, especially, you got to comment on this. Society has taught us not to connect on a soulish level. They just taught us to look at the physical attributes of one another and be like, oh, I want that. And not actually connect internally. What's your thoughts on that? Because I got to get the female response because we have to build together. You know what I'm saying? I got to get the female response.
So I actually was hanging out with my cousin brother yesterday, and he said, do you know what men want? And I sat for a second and I started to, give out some suggestions. And he said, you know what gets me excited when I'm getting off of work and I am rushing home to my wife and kid? He was just like, my wife offers me peace. He said that is absolutely crucial. Like, she offers me peace. He's also in a stage of life where he is shooting for the stars. That's who I like to keep surrounded by me. Is it's like, we're going for the stars. You have an option to be mediocre. You have an option to shoot for the stars. And so that's how we're rolling. But that being said, he's kind of like throwing the spaghetti at every wall right now. And he says one thing about his wife is just like, yep, he's all over the place, but he's going to go hard. He said his wife supports him. And so hearing those two things, I will say a healed woman wants the same thing. Wow. A healing woman, because I do think it's a journey. A healing woman wants the same thing. Peace. When you some of these stats make me laugh, but it's like, where did they get these numbers from? But I'll say this: when women are filing for divorce, a lot of times she's tired of not having peace. She's tired. She's fed up. She's exhausted of not having peace. She's not divorcing a good man. She's not divorcing a man that offers her peace. So, yeah.
What can you help men understand what peace looks like for a woman?
I would say a healing man. A healing man is that if you have a lot of turmoil inside, it's very hard for you to like pour out love and abundance and feel goods out there. Like what you're spewing. When I see people misbehaving or behaving badly, I'm like, wow, some inside is broken. Something's jacked up. But what are you doing to heal? Because there's people who are just aimlessly, like, you know what I'm saying, chopping down their knee and everything that's in their way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see people spewing out and they're speaking with a bravado, I don't think that's healing. I think you're just bleeding.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I think, and I will say this, it's not entirely the men's fault because, again, society makes it where you all can't be as expressive. You all, are suppressed. You all give very contradictory messaging. So you grow up and you are chaotic. Like my cousin said the same thing. He was just like, he was saying like men at 35 hit their peak. And I was just like, I'm gonna challenge that. And he was just like, well, you know what? You have a lot of points because I said a lot of 35-year-olds and up men are really angry. I meet a lot of angry men. And he was just like, I'm gonna go beyond angry. He said, there's a lot of depressed men. And so he was going down the list on what you're compiling all these years. Mm-hmm. And so when you are not really addressing that, there's no way you can offer peace. So I would say start with you first. And that's why I also say purpose is big. Sometimes pursuing your purpose can help you heal.
I think a medicine for a depressed man is a good woman. A woman knows how to bring a man out of depression by just being around. The presence of a good woman.
I can agree with that. I will say that sometimes it's like you also as a man have to be willing and you also have to be open. Like sometimes it's like those women are like, they take on, because we are nurturers, we are maternal, right? Mm-hmm. So we take on like just like y'all are protectors, we take on a savior complex. So there comes a time where that woman's just like, I have been trying to save you for umpteen years. I'm tired. I'm now depleted.
I think a woman should never save a man. I think that she's supposed to help him meet the goal that's in front of him.
I agree with that.
So if he's going through depression, if his goal is to get out of that, we're talking about men that are actively trying to evolve.
Yes, because that's another thing. Yeah. There's something I was like,
we're not talking about the loser niggas. We're talking about real men that want to evolve. And
that's another thing I heard about over this past week, where a woman was saying, it was like dudes are starting to go to therapy, and she was like, I applaud that, but she was like, all right, cool, but what are you learning in therapy?
Right.
Is
that like it's kind of like a cushion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it's a crutch.
Yes.
It is.
To some men.
Because it's just like, all right, because that's the one thing we realize is just like, women are captivated by words, men are captivated by sight. So men will be like, yeah, girl, I'm in therapy. And then women will start playing all the scenarios in their head.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in therapy. This is where we can go.
Yes.
This may happen. This may happen. So she heard I'm in therapy.
Yes.
But she's got to see, all right, what has that done?
How's that? What's the fruition
How
of that?
has changed that? Because also it's like, because if we get to arguing, you start throwing, stuff around the house. You say you're in therapy. You're like, babe, I'm angry, but I'm not throwing stuff around the house. She's like, therapy's working.
Now let me play devil's advocate to both of you, and I have to do this, and I'm gonna say this on air, even though it's something I would have rather had said off air. But often I'm gonna play devil's advocate because there's people that's gonna think this way that I'm gonna spill out. So it's not a personal attack to you, Grandtastic, or to you, IA. It's to bring out your points in the discussion. If there wasn't a Coretta Scott, if there wasn't a Betty Shabazz, those men wouldn't have been as great.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because those women had the patience to watch their men evolve.
Yeah.
The world views the men in a certain way, but in the home, because let's not cap, like Malcolm didn't have rumors going on, like Martin didn't have rumors going on, like it wasn't a bunch of chaos being thrown at their character, and all that would make even an honest woman scratch her head like, hold up.
Right.
So let's not cap like they had the perfect relationship.
Right.
They had to,
because people like to omit that.
Yeah, they did, and they had to have a sense of fortitude within themselves where they still honored their man, even their man's weakest moment. I mean, you're talking about a guy like Malcolm X who went from being the top person in the nation when he married Betty to having your family threatened.
Yes.
And I know about that, trust me. Then you go from Martin Luther King to having this peaceful congregation to now you being on the world stage, civil rights, to you now sitting down with Elijah Muhammad. Now you're talking about economic reform and reparations and niggas not integrating but separating.
Because we coming for that check.
Because Martin Luther King didn't die an integrationalist. He actually said that was a mistake.
That's
and
right.
I agree with him.
That's right.
It absolutely was a mistake. We
That's
should
right.
be separate, not integrated.
That's true.
But Martin evolved during his messaging. He went from an integrationalist to a separatist. He went from I have a dream, which by the way he didn't write, to that was written actually for him by the Southern Baptist organization he was attached to. Because Martin Luther King had an armory of weapons. He wasn't non-violent. Anyway, let me stop. That's the white version of Martin that's acceptable on your postcards, just like Malcolm. But anyway, so Martin goes from integrationalist, I have a dream, to we need to separate, build an economic base, get the hell away from these white folks, and build for our own because their house is burning down. It takes a strong woman to support both.
Yeah.
And they both had to deal with the same outcome.
That's also a fact.
They both had children that they had to uphold the image of the father that got taken from the children. I mean, Malcolm got killed in front of his children.
Horrible.
I know Malcolm's daughter. I've had conversations with Malcolm's daughter. I know the pain from her words of her seeing her father get gunned down in front of her. Like, that damages her. And she was little. And she can remember it verbatim. Like, literally. Can it be said that if Malcolm and Martin were alive in today's society of women, they were to choose a spouse, that they would not have the home stability that those women provided? If you agree with that statement, what's the difference?
If you agree with what statement?
That if Malcolm and Martin were alive in today's society, they were youthful and they wanted to marry, that they wouldn't have the same home stability.
I think you can. I think the home stability is still here. I do think some women are a little more intolerant, and I think rightfully so. I think even when you said Shabazz and Coretta had the uh, fortitude to deal with the range of Malcolm and the range of Martin, I think there was also a training of like being tolerant of bullshit, and that's how some of these relationships survived. And I think today, some women, because I think bullshit still goes on, I think some women are like, no, I don't have, I'll support you, I'll inspire you, I'll, I'll be your, behind you, right to you, left of you, but I can't. I'm gonna hold you accountable just like you want me to respect you and honor you. I'm gonna need some of that back, and I think that's fair because.
So for clarity,
yes,
are you saying that Malcolm and Martin didn't present that, or are you saying that that's what modern men need to present? The respect and honor towards women.
I think they. You were talking about they wouldn't be as great without Coretta and Betty, and I feel like some of the things that they did, like, well, specifically talk about MLK, some of the things that he did behind closed doors, like, yes, Coretta was strong to be able to deal with some of those things, but there also was a little bit of like, I am going to tolerate some of the bullshit that comes with Martin because that's part of the training.
With other women?
Yeah, some of the disrespectful behavior. Okay. So I do think you can most certainly find, I think there's, regardless of the propaganda that's being spewed out, women are still socialized, like part of your value is to be a wife, and it is rooted in a lot of traditionalism, regardless of what the propaganda is out there. But I do think today there may be a little bit less intolerance in some cases with some of the stuff that Coretta put up with.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
What about Betty?
Yeah, I mean, theirs was a little bit different, but yeah, theirs was tough too. I still think, yeah, I think there's most definitely Betty's out here for sure. Okay. I do.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder what, because Malcolm and Martin had like some really huge tasks.
They did.
And I think that's the one thing of which I think that's a fact. Yeah. I think I don't know.
Are you saying that they needed to be given grace because of their tasks?
Not yes and no. Okay. Because women are dealing with bullshit from niggas ain't doing shit. I mean, like, all right, if I had to choose to be getting cheated on by Martin or the local nigga, getting cheated
How
on
about
by
I just
I'm not trying to validate it. I'm just saying
because I'm out there on the front line with Martin. I'm at risk of getting shot too. Like, I have to protect my kids. Like, I have to be a willing participant for my Martin to be out here, because him doing this work not only puts him at risk, but you're putting my children. I mean, that's exactly what happened at Malcolm. Those kids almost got burnt crispy. Like, but
I think that's where we are at this point now, where in that generation it made in Big Bro, we talked about this a lot, where it made people who you either bow down and was like, don't look at white people wrong, don't talk to white people wrong, or I'm still militant. Like, that time created a fork in the road where it's like the next generations are going to follow. So there are people who are like, I'm sacrificing for the betterment of my community. And there's some people who are like, F the community, it's about us. That's where I think it's more like, and kind of what we were talking about earlier, you mentioned purpose of, is it like, and that's why I asked, is individual or relationship? Because the Martin and Malcolm relationship, the purpose of that relationship does go beyond personal at that point.
For sure.
It's just like, and I can imagine as being like the woman next to them and being like, oh, like, and people are like, yo, you Martin? Like, she's like, you see him like, that's my husband, but no, this is MLK.
That's right.
This is Malcolm X.
That's right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of, it's different at that point where it's like, are we focused on like the rumors, this and that, when you are fighting for the empowerment of the black people in this country? Or is this just a regular relationship where it's just like, oh, I don't know if you're sleeping with the girl next, like down the street or not? Like that's also the thing. It's a different weight class with them. Not justifying anything wrong, but it's more or less of like you are literally fighting for the empowerment and freedom of these people.
For sure.
So it's just as much as whatever's happening.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying we're not excusing from my perspective of what Grantastic is saying and from what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
We're not excusing the step outside behavior. We're not.
No.
We're not downplaying the feelings of the woman in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Grantastic is saying, this is my opinion of what he's saying, my assumption, is that if you're going to be with someone who's going to have weak moments, don't let it be the nigga down the street who's selling drugs and has no intentions of doing right by a woman versus a man who is learning how to treat a woman. I think
because it's also the assumption that like, okay, even if they did have side chicks, we don't ever talk about the fact of like, how was their relationship? Like we don't ever talk about like.
Well, we don't ever talk about Coretta's side dudes.
Yeah.
She had about 4 or 5 of those that the FBI had tapes of too, but we don't never talk about that. But
but if you're not really upset with MLK, then why are you upset with Coretta?
I'm personally am upset with MLK. I'm personally upset with
generally,
Malcolm,
but societally, people aren't. Because even what you're saying, and I completely understand what you're saying, which is exactly what I said. Like you have your own personal purpose.
That's beautiful. Hold up. You're saying society has imprinted on people to not be upset at the weakness of our heroes.
Yes.
I love that. Go ahead, continue.
But when you come together, I do believe this. If you select the person that you should be with, the purpose that y'all have is going to be bigger than y'all. That's my personal belief.
That's the definition of a power couple.
So that is to me
like
that
it
is
should be.
It should be.
It should be.
So I completely understand that yes, MLK and Malcolm had a much higher purpose than those two individuals, than their marriage. They were to come together and become MLK. To me, isn't just MLK. He had a team. Malcolm had a team. You know what I'm saying? And that included their spouse. That being said, I'm the closest thing to you. I'm in the trenches with you. You're wounding me. And that's the part that's like, I understand what you're saying, but it's just like there is this societal of like, okay, woman, just brush that aside because there's this bigger purpose. But it's just like, well, if there's this bigger purpose, sir, why would you put us at risk?
At jeopardy.
Why would you put us in jeopardy?
Can I cut you off for a moment? You bring up an excellent point that I want to touch on. And I know we went over time. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, it's the first episode back, and we're getting into real discussion, but it's healthy. So, you bring up a point, IA, about you're hurting me during this process. I don't think there's pros and cons to being in our society right now. One of the pros is that a man can actually express his feelings more in today's society than back then.
For sure.
That's very true.
I honestly have to say that.
Yeah. I don't think there's no
and
close.
So, because I'm listening to this dialogue as someone who has on the same shoes as the two men we're talking about.
Correct.
That's not my words. That's my elders' words. That's people who, that's a man who walked with both of them physically that said this to me in a crowd of people. So I'm not putting myself on a pedestal because I don't need to do that. I'm the type of person where I can move off in South Dakota somewhere with my family and be good. Like I'm good. I don't need no attention at all. I don't care about that. I'm just passionate, have a goal. But I think my advantage over Martin and Malcolm is that I have a safety net around me. I have people who can hold me accountable to a standard. But at the same time, it is because there is a devalue of the work that I do. Mm-hmm. See, Martin and Malcolm lived in a time where their work and who they were in that moment was held at a value. They had people around them, but those people turned on them.
A lot of them turned on them.
Thanks to the FBI.
Three in particular.
I mean, to the point where the dude standing next to Malcolm was like, move the tie and let me stand to the left so they can get a clear shot at him. And that was his best friend. But Martin, sorry. Malcolm got betrayed by his higher religious organization. They left him out there for the CIA and the FBI to kill him. And they're still getting blamed for his murder to this day. Cool. Because their value was held up. Their value was held up because the woman knew how to address the man behind closed doors. There are recorded conversations of the wives of these two great men, and there were many other great men. Black Panther Party had
tons,
a bunch of great men
for sure.
And the list goes on and on. So I'm not just singling them out like they're the two greatest. I'm just, for the sake of conversation, just saying. But anyway, their women challenged them. Malcolm got challenged from his discovery of Elijah by his wife. Malcolm had a moral code that he got from Elijah that says, I have to hold you accountable for your actions for taking on multiple wives. Because when I came into this thing, this was not a part of the discussion, and all of a sudden it pops up. Help me understand. I can defend you. I'm your defender. That's my responsibility, is to defend you in the public. But when you shun me away and you take away the protection, and it was his wife that opened his eyes. Like, look, dude, you don't see the betrayal happening? You know what I'm saying? People don't know this about Coretta. Coretta was the one that said, yo, you still got homeboy around you. He was trying to sleep with me. He's going to betray you one day.
That's a real thing that happens.
You see what I'm saying?
A real thing that happens.
But Malcolm listened. Martin didn't. They both in same results. I mean, with this government, white supremacy, you don't have to say.
Yeah, they weren't letting no black messiah stand.
But
no.
But what I guess what I'm trying to get to is we have to get back to the value system of honoring one another. And if we don't, we're going to allow this system to win.
But is that kind of what we don't do with? Because I feel as if, like, when it comes to Malcolm and Martin, you either get the white supremacy version or them cheating. And it's always trying to devalue everything that they did.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, it's not really in defending them cheating, because again, it's like, you ain't cheat on me. So it's just like, and I don't approve of it. But I think it's also the spectrum of how we look at our quote unquote heroes. It's like, you have to be perfect. And if you have a flaw, then we have to eradicate everything you've done.
It's a huge pressure.
It's a huge pressure. So it's just like, but then also actually knowing the process of getting to that point of creating the Malcolm and the Martin is just like, okay, they've gone through some things, but how did you get through them? Like, we don't ever talk about the through. We just like, oh, Martin had some chicks. We think, Malcolm had some chicks. They were both heroes.
I mean, Malcolm was accused of having a baby that out of wedlock, being homosexual, having multiple chicks in the mosque. Like, Malcolm was accused of a lot of things.
White chicks in Annapolis.
But that's also kind of like their age cancel culture. That's really kind of what it is.
Yeah. But okay, so let me say this. Have we allowed this system and society to bring about a cancel culture towards our women because of their weakness and flaws?
I think so.
Can I have an example? I like legit. I'm like not being like facetious.
If a woman,
because then I feel like I can give more. Okay. Like if I need an example,
the pandemic happened. Woman loses her job. She starts an OnlyFans. Take care of her children. Is she no longer worthy of marriage? Or can we overlook that and see the heart behind why she did what she did?
I can.
Okay.
But my training is different. Like, I stopped calling women thoughts and hoes years ago when I really thought about it. And I said, societally, like, if you define what thought and hoes are, I said men can be that with no shame. If anything, they're celebrated for that. They'll shame you. Like, can I read something real quick? I saw something today that I was just like, y'all talk about the confusion and the mismatch messaging sent to y'all. Like, when I say we get it, I'm gonna say harder. We get it harder because I'm gonna just read this real quick. It's not coming up fast enough for this to show.
No, but I definitely agree though. I feel as if a lot of the media targets, ambushes, attacks women on like a very loud way, opposed to like with men it's just like sell drugs, like play basketball, get hoes. Like that those three repeat.
I think
get hoes, but then those same hoes are not worthy of any type of respect. They're not worthy of anything. You're for the streets. Like, I don't partake in those conversations because I'm just like, the messaging is so.
I think that was programmed in us by white folks because
Imprinted.
We can say that. I feel like, but for how long? Because I'm like I said, everything should have an expiration. For how long we gonna keep saying that? Like, I'll read this.
But like the psychological warfare hasn't ended. So like when you're saying for how long, when they end, they're like, all right, black people, we're gonna stop psychologically controlling you. Then that's the question we can ask: for how long? Because they haven't stopped.
You think they're going to stop?
No.
Okay, so that being said, now that we have some education, now that we have access, I think it's a choice. I think ignorance is a choice because if you want the access, you can get it.
I think we've been indoctrinated.
We have been indoctrinated, but what I'm saying is you now have access to information, and that's where you're getting a separation in some of the classism. There's the elitists, the elite blacks, the educated blacks, the bougie blacks, the ratchet, some of that separation is happening because I do think that leads to victimhood. And I'm not saying that it's not real, but it's just like, when do you decide that, hey, I'm going to start to make a choice, and it may not happen in my lifetime, but I at least want to start to plant the seeds where my kids have a little bit of a different example for them to continue this torch. But I'll just read this. Women get shamed for sex, for liking sex, for not liking sex, for having too much or too little sex, for having kids, for not having kids, for aborting cells that may turn into kids, for having kids too young, for having kids too old. Just shut the F up, man. Like, it literally feels like that's literally the messaging all day, every day. And it's just like, you get made fun of for being a hoe, but then you get made fun of for being a prude. Then it's just like, oh, you need to have sex, but then it's just like, oh, well, you had sex too fast with me, or you took too much time now. So it's like, if you listen to society, I'm like, it's amazing to me that more people are not in jackets. And I do think women get that hard. I think they get that hard.
I think that, well,
especially black women, because other cultures, I think they aren't shamed at the same level.
That and that's the point I was about to bring up, because other ethnic groups have a culture. Black African Americans, quote unquote, don't have a culture because it was stripped from them. And we got to remember that a lot of the things that we are experiencing now with the desegregation and all that stuff is only like 100-some years old.
Yeah,
if
that.
I mean, I have a grandmother who still remembers being beat up by police for looking at a white person.
Yeah.
Like, so it's we can't overlook, we can't dismiss close to 500 years of the programming of the Negro and act like it doesn't have a psychological effect on who we are today.
Yeah.
I think what needs to happen is the same way that, because if 17% of men are sleeping with 80% of the women, then it's the 17% of the men that are calling women hoes and thoughts. It's getting highlighted more. For example, let me give an example.
I don't think it's the 17%. I think it's the ones that's not getting it that they're mad. And instead of being like, yo, share to the dudes, they're like, oh, y'all are thoughts. Y'all sleeping with these dudes. I don't know how many times it's just like, oh, well, he left you. Well, you chose him. Oh, you got a baby daddy. That's your fault. It's like you don't get the. I saw a video with Safari when he was in Jamaica while his kid was in the NICU. And the comments just, I had to laugh. It was just like,
but
oh, our
Safari's
brother
not
Safari.
a regular nigga, though. Well, we can't add him to the conversation.
He's a representation of the regular dude. He's really not like, I know sometimes we're like, oh, celebrities, but I'm like, Safari's in that place where he's
He's in a way higher tax bracket. He's in the 0.6% of Black America's wealth.
Okay, that being said, you have the resources and you're still doing that type of behavior where your kid is in the NICU and you're in Jamaica, twerking. That's what I saw.
I mean, but that's a celebrity.
But there's not people doing that. The regular dude's not doing that.
I don't see a regular dude being in Jamaica.
Oh, they're there. They are.
I'll give an example from something locally. So I do a lot of work on Pioneer Drive, right? Pioneer Drive, literally, that community has about 5 to 6 different landlords or companies, management, property managers, right? They used to have a swimming pool. It got closed down. It's nothing but grass and glass and fences and stuff all over the area. Policy, rules, and regulations say that the children can't play anything outside. They can't bounce balls. They can't throw footballs in the parking lot. None of that. They can't have nothing in their backyards. So literally, they are confined within their homes or just walking around the neighborhood. The government pours drugs into Black communities. They pour guns into Black communities, and they're the reason why gangs were started. Because if there was never no police brutality, there would never be no gangs. So gangs were started to protect the community from police brutality, and then eventually you give lab rats a area to live in. They're going to turn on each other. Proximity killing is what it's called, which white folks actually do it higher than we do, but it's not broadcasted. 91% of white folks are killed by white folks, and 72% of Black folks are killed by Black folks. So it's actually higher. So we never talk about white on white crime, but we got to clean up the community, and we always publicize that. They're not going to respect us until we respect each other, but we don't go out killing white folks, and 91% of them are killing each other. Facts. Anyway, this is all like fabricated stuff by the media. But what I'm saying is these people are legally bound into occupation based upon where they live at. You don't think that child, who, by the way, their rent is the same amount that I'm paying. And I don't live in the hood.
I know that.
So you have women and men that are paying $1,900 a month to live in the projects, to raise their children, where their children can't do squat, and they're barely making it because the job selection that they have based upon their address alone. This is something that I'm working on personally. That I can call the county exec. I can call the delegates, I can call the mayor. And this is all proven that they have been, because we're fighting this right now, they have been rejected great jobs because of their address. They can't elevate because systematically they're not given the opportunity. It takes someone to get them to rise up the consciousness that no matter what the system is throwing at you, fight against it and defeat it. There's other ways of doing it. It takes a sense of a deliverer or a savior or a messenger to elevate the consciousness of that. But you're only going to understand that type of dynamic if you come from that struggle.
Exactly.
So someone like a Malcolm could speak to a nigga in the streets where Martin couldn't speak to a nigga in the streets. But guess what? You need both. You see what I'm saying? And what society has taught us, because all the things that we spew out fuels the war. It fuels the war. It's literally, Oh, well, women don't do this. Well, men don't do that. And cool. Okay, they don't. What's your solution? Because at the end of the day, acknowledging the problem is the first step. But then brainstorming solutions should be the next step. And all I'm hearing in the media and on the internet is what the problem is. And when someone brings about, hey, I think this is a potential solution, it's going back to the problem. Well, let's try this solution first. Mm-hmm. Let's try to get results first. Because if you haven't tried the solution, then at the end of the day, you can't necessarily identify to me what the actual problem is. Mm-hmm. If you don't understand 1 + 1 = 2, when you see 1 + 1, you can't say, "Oh, the problem is 1 + 1." Yeah, what's the solution though? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, so
what's the solution though?
So, for the listening audience, you have to. You can't take the red or the blue pill. You can't be a Democrat or Republican. It's not a this or that. Mm-hmm. What works for the confines of the community? Yeah. And when I say community, I'm not just talking about black folks. I'm talking about we the people. We the people. What works best for the Asians? Protect theirs. I can go on and on. The ethnic groups. Black folks are the only people that air their dirty laundry out on a mass scale in public. And why? We're the only people who have gender wars. Why? Where were the feminists at when black women were being oppressed? Where was the LGBTQ community when the transsexual female and the transsexual male got killed by being unarmed by a police officer? There was no protest led by the LGBTQ community.
Nope.
There were black men and black women that were protesting, but not the LGBTQ.
Correct.
Where were they at when Sandra Bland and all them got killed? They didn't stand
because the
up
LGBT was quick to say, "Oh, we don't want the black and brown stripe on our flag."
Right, but
the
moment the baby gives his opinion about what his fans that are LGBTQ desire, they don't want to suck pipe in the car. They want a nice hotel room and romanced. Mm-hmm. He's wrong for saying that my gay fans have standards. He's wrong. Right. So at the end of the day, like, we gotta stop. And when I say we, I'm not talking about us. I'm just talking about in general. We have to stop fueling the fire and always talking about what this person is doing, what that person is doing, yada, 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 yada. Because at the end of the day, everyone else can do that and get results. This is the problem, and they get results. They get policies and procedures and laws and things passed to protect what they call the problem is, while black folks are still singing "We Shall Overcome." Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I hate it.
You essentially just summed up exactly what I was saying as far as, like, yes, we have the 500 years of oppression. However, we have access to do something different if we want to, if we choose to. Mm-hmm. Yes, both can live in the same world. Like, yes, we're indoctrinated, we're brainwashed, but we also have access to some information to do something a little different.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of movements that are actually striving for those different. They just don't have the support of the overall black community
and that's very true.
Like seriously, like it really is. And we need to wake up and fight for each other instead of against each other. Yeah. Anyway, I know we went over time. It's your boy.
Who are you?
He was about to call himself Grandtastic. You caught that?
I'm with my boy Grandtastic. I'm with the homegirl IA. This is your boy Mr. Randy Chew on that. And we will see you guys next Monday. Deuces.